Good morning, everyone. It's such an immense pleasure to be part of this incredible event. I am told that there are thousands and thousands of people who are going to be connecting to us either directly, but maybe also through all the tweeting and all the sharing and the stories and the conversations that you are going to have after this. It is a great pleasure for me to deliver this opening address, understanding that all I'm doing is just opening the floor to a wonderful list of speakers who are going to come after us. The beauty of technology hopefully means that there's going to be a lot more women who previously would have found it quite difficult to connect with us to an event like this, but through technology are able now to be part of this event. We are connecting together like this using this platform, partly because we are really living in very difficult times. And when I was preparing for this event and this conversation, I was just thinking, how does one anchor it? I can't find any other way to anchor it other than the reality of where we find ourselves, which is a real fight for survival. It's an issue of physical survival. We know that worldwide over 1 million people have died from COVID-19, but more than anything, it's actually about livelihoods as well. It's also very difficult on a day-to-day basis. I think many of you know that, particularly those of us who've got the pleasure and the ability to work at home, that we are all starting to experience this Groundhog Day effect, where it feels like each day is exactly the same as the other days. Those of us who have families, it was quite exciting at the beginning to be here, that the kids can come in and drop in as be part of the conversation. But it's starting to get to a point where, like, I need to go to the office because, I can only get disrupted so far. But more than anything, I think we are exhausted. There's a huge exhausting factor. There's a huge fear factor that's there. I think from a business perspective, in my perspective, from what I see, looking at what's happening in our clients' accounts, it does look like, it's been a tough time. It looks like the Republic has lost at least a quarter of all of its economic activities, if I look at the proxy of what's happening in the account of our clients. And things are starting to get better as we're starting to get into level one, but we are definitely nowhere near where we used to be. We are still significantly below where we were from a business activity perspective. And so, yes, our real challenge is really is about how do we make sure that we survive as human beings, and how do we make sure that our businesses ultimately also survive. I am blessed to work for an organization where right now, our biggest success factor that we've given ourselves right now, what we are looking for, we want to be the bank across the continent that has the highest number of customers who survive through this time with their businesses intact and their livelihoods intact, and more than anything, who start to do the pivot that is required, because there's clear sense that there's no going back. So the key things that we are doing, these work that we are doing around providing credit relief is in line of that, making sure that we don't pull back on risk appetite, because businesses and individuals, in fact, need more support. Don't give people credit when they don't need it. And we've worked very closely in South Africa with our government in terms of the RSA COVID loans. I am very proud to be the bank that has over 60% of all COVID RSA loans that have been granted in this country. And we continue to look forward to be able to do that because the scheme is still open. The other thing that I'm personally passionate about as Standard Bank as an employer is to make sure that we have as many people as we can who are working from home, who are not directly exposed to the virus. But more than anything, what's very close to my heart is an ability to continue to pay all salaries. And that over the last 6 months, we've continued to pay 100% of all salaries, but even to people who were unable to work because they're vulnerable or for whatever reason. And that's something that we intend to be able to do. These goals, and as you can see, I'm not talking about are we wanting to have the 100%, we want to have the highest growth rate from a profit perspective. We're saying those things matter because we want to make sure that our business is sustainable. But we are long-term, we are a 150-year-old organization, and therefore we know that there's a time and place for everything. And right now, the most important thing is for us to be able to navigate this transition, and therefore success is not the one who's got the highest profit or even the lowest loss. But success, what it means right now, is the one who provides the best support to the people of this continent. Because if the people of this continent, the businesses of this continent do not thrive, we all don't have a future. All this work I don't do alone. I'm lucky enough to work for an organization that is truly purpose-driven. I'm not the only woman there. In fact, I laugh and say, we don't have an Oreo effect. The reason why we've got all these different perspectives sometimes is simply because we have a lot of businesses that are run by women, young women, which is a thing that's close to my heart. Those of you who bank with us, if you love your app and you've loved what you've seen before over the last couple of months, I'd like to tell you that a lot of that is the work of 6 women. It's the work of Tiamo Malanda, who looks after everyday banking for individuals. The work of Belinda Ratoga, who looks after everyday banking for small businesses. Zanele Mbeche, who looks after personal loans, and their teams, Mags, Moroge, and Lebogang. No Oreo effect here. We've got, and these are young women. These are women in their early 30s and women in their 20s. And so it's something that we're proud of. If you come from Zambia, you must know that your retail and business bank is run by a wonderful young woman by the name of Mwanza Mutati. If you come from Namibia, joining us from Namibia, your bank is run by Mersha. From Uganda, by Anne. From Northern Cape, it's Zainal who keeps everything going, even though right now we're experiencing a peak. If you're from Sarah Batman municipality, it's all Leanne who's doing the work. If you're from Mohale, it's Nolutando. These names, for me, that's what success is. Because ultimately, what we want an organization that's fully inclusive, and not for the fun of it, but so that we can truly solve the problems in a different way and connect with our clients differently. I talk about survival, and I'm also clear that I am, like many people on the line, I am a middle class and upper middle class woman, and therefore I'm working from home. My 2 girls for a long time were on Zoom and learning from home. A lot of our shopping we do online, but that's only because I'm middle class. There are 2 million people in this country who have lost jobs. There are many women out there whose kids cannot learn from online. There are many women out there who can't, and men and women and families who can't afford the 70 Rand delivery fee on groceries, or even groceries for that matter. And there are many women out there who've got jobs, who are right in the front line, who are unable to work from home. So it seems to me that that's one of the biggest courageous conversations that we need to have, is that we can't only be talking about ourselves. And I understand that we're all facing tough times, but we have to realize that we are part of a broader community. And so this conference and this event that's about celebration of excellence, but also that's about conversations, is more important than ever. The thing that has put us on top of the food chain, that has made us stop being chased by lions in the savannah, is not because we've got the biggest brain on top of us. That's not the payload of the brain. The thing that has brought us here is the ability to work together, and not only with our small families, but to be able to collaborate at scale. And so I love the conversation, this conference and this event, to the extent that it talks about us having brave conversations. I think of a conversation not as something where I'm just listening with disinterest. I'm agreeing with one of my favorite authors is Mark Nepo, the poet, who says, a true conversation is ultimately about listening with the willingness to be changed by what we hear. And that's what we need now more than ever. Because to me, it seems like there are 4 big conversations we need to have. The first conversation is how we're going to survive. How are we going to help each other? Because not one person can deliver this amongst themselves. How do we help each other survive? How do we help our businesses survive? How do we make sure that we can get out of this so that we can live, we can continue to pay school fees and groceries for our children? That's the first one. But we have to think about also beyond survival. We have to think about thriving. I was just looking this morning that the biggest businesses in the world seems to be thriving. Apple today, market cap 2 billion. The market cap of Amazon today, 1.5 billion. Alphabet, the owner of Google, is about to get a market cap of 1 billion rand, $1 billion. So 2 trillion, let me start again. Apple, $2 trillion market cap. Amazon, over $1.5 trillion market cap. And Alphabet, almost $1 trillion. What is it that makes these businesses thrive? So the conversation we have to talk about is, how do we start to make pivots on our business models to make sure that our business, in fact, are future ready? I'm hoping we'll have time to start talk about how we're going to prepare the next women, in fact, our children, to be ready to live to the world that's clearly coming. What are we going to say to our daughters today? How do we prepare them for the future? And lastly, I hope that we use this opportunity, in fact, to start talking about a real brave conversation, which is, can we use this time to redefine success? Can we use this time to redefine leadership? Could we maybe pivot success and leadership away from more? Can we all go back to our original communities? Can we stage a homegoing, which means going back to the people of our communities to truly understand who they are? What is it that really matters to them, so that we can ultimately be the type of people, we can fall in love with our countries and our continent again, so that we can truly find different solutions? Because I'm hoping we can start having a conversation where we can redefine success and leadership as creation of careers and creation of livelihoods for young women and young men of this country and this continent, so that ultimately humanity can continue to thrive and survive through this time that we're dealing with. I am hoping that all of us can start these courageous conversations here and continue afterwards. Please have fun, enjoy yourself. And Leanne, thank you so much for what you're doing. You are wonderful. And I know that you are going to facilitate a fantastic event over the next couple of hours. Thank you.